Yo, what's up guys? Wogi here and welcome back to another AFK journey video. And today we're diving deep into Burial, the shadowy assassin who's been making waves for me both in PvP and pushing AFK stages. So I wanted to go ahead and showcase the team comps I've been running with him, replays of top 5 arena and supreme arena, as well as my overall thoughts and why I recommend this unit overall. I wanted to start off by showing off my current rankings so you guys can see how I've been performing in the new season, mainly using Burial. So Arena, I'm currently top 5. In Supreme Arena, I am also currently top 5. We broke top 1. I have the top 1 replay as well that I will show you guys. In AFK stages, I am currently 16. But I also haven't really played for the day or grinded the stages out, so I'm usually within the top 10. And yeah, you guys can see that I'm overall just a top player, and mainly because I've been using Burial, and this is one of the team comps that I've mainly been using. And the reason I've been able to compete at the top is mainly because of this guy. So let's go ahead and start off with his ultimate, which is Scared Swamp. Burial flies beneath enemies hiding within their shadows. While invincible, he deals 36% damage every 25 seconds, absorbing energy for up to 5 seconds. Then he emerges, dealing a whopping 320% attack damage to adjacent foes and frightening them for 4 seconds. It's like his get out of jail free card, allowing him to deal massive damage while being untouchable, and if you have a healer, he could also be healed in this state, which is just absolutely insane, and I'll show you guys in the replay. So his second ability, Shadow Trick. Burial becomes invincible while hidden in the shadows. If there are isolated enemies on the battlefield, he teleports to each one, dealing 300% attack damage. Otherwise, he recovers 300% HP before returning to his original position. His self-sustain is impressive, and he's basically a ranged character, as you guys can see, since he's going to start off in a spot. As you see, I'm going to place him somewhere, and he's just going to boink and hit every single person one by one across the map if they're isolated, and then he's going to go back to his original position, and then he'll go and walk towards them. So he's kind of like a hybrid. He can be ranged and melee, and even untargetable at times. Now his third ability, which is Devil's Contract. Now this ability is his life-saving ability, literally. So basically when Burial dies, he hides within the shadows for 10 seconds, and if you have him Supreme Plus, it's 20 seconds. And if a non-summoned enemy is defeated during this time, Burial returns to the battlefield. Think of it as his guardian angel. If you guys ever played League of Legends, that's literally what it is. It just revives him as soon as he dies. And it's triggered once per battle. Now onto his hero focus. Burial reduces the damage dealt by an isolated enemy by 6% and increases their damage taken by 3%. This may not seem like a lot to you guys, but at higher levels, these percentages become even more impactful because you see them increase to 8% and 10%. And in high-end PvP where Paragon teams reign supreme, this literally matters a lot. As you can see, I don't have them Paragon, but you're going to see me face full Paragon teams and just completely dumpster them with Burial. This is literally one of the reasons why, because when they're isolated, he is able to debuff them and basically buff my team's attack towards them, and they just get shredded, usually before Scarlita is able to slam down on the ground and knock my whole team out of the battlefield, which is what normally happens if you run the Aeron team comp into the Celestial team comp that's going around right now. And now we go on to his EX ability, which is his coolest part in my opinion, which is Shadow Reflection. If non-summoned enemies remained isolated for over 3 seconds, they lose 180 energy. And a silhouette forms, inheriting 50% of Burial's attack, 100% of other stats, and losing 8% of his max HP per second. Silhouettes can only deal damage through normal attacks, and at level 3, enemies lose 40 energy when hit by the silhouette. And the crazy part is that even when he is dead, as you will see in some of the replays, when he dies, you'll still see the silhouettes there. And he can still summon silhouettes, which is insane because not only is he a rogue, but he's also a tank because of all the silhouettes and also because of Floribel's shield, making the silhouettes even tankier. But he's also pretty much ranged because he hits from afar, and then he also becomes invincible and untargetable when he ults and he's inside them, and he can also heal if you have a healer on the team. So he's just like a perfect package if you're into that type of playstyle. And now let's get into the team that I normally run. So of course, Floribel Ball is essential for Burial, mainly because of her EX weapon. As you can see here, she grants a natural blessing to allied summons upon their entrance to the battlefield, providing them with a permanent shield capable of absorbing damage equal to 280% of Florbell's attack. And I have her weapon level 4, so it goes up to 350%. So you're going to see how tanky those silhouettes are and how long we're able to last on the battlefield simply because of this passive and all the summons, including her summons and all the silhouettes. It's just crazy and it's a lot of fun. Of course, I put Arden. Arden just pairs extremely well with both of them. Florbell's able to knock them up. Arden, of course, with his continuous procs based on control effects, he fits right in. Burial's Fear and Florbell's Knockup add to the control chaos. And this is usually my, well, of course, Thorin. There's really no need to speak much about him. He's just the best in slot tank and he just rounds out the team. And this is my flex pick usually, but I usually like to use Reiner because Reiner usually helps displace their backline and help them become isolated, and as well as help you nuke their backline very quickly, since Burial doesn't teleport out since he stays in place if their targets are isolated. So he will stay in place and nuke the target. Reiner's buffs also enhance Burial, and Damien of course is a flex pick. Sometimes in a stage I might need a little bit more healing or fighting a certain player in PvP. And Damien, of course, is just great overall if I need more healing in the team. Typically, as you'll see, like I usually just wipe out the enemy team before they could do anything, because Burial's summons are just so tanky with Florbell's summons as well. But sometimes you may need a little bit more healing, and Damien just pairs very well because he's untargetable as well, so he will never die. And sometimes Burial, while he's ulting, you see that he gets low on health and he's untargetable while he's ulting, but Damien can still target him with his heals, which is insane. So sometimes he'll be 1 health, go inside somebody, and then Damien will just full heal him. By the time he gets out, he fears the whole enemy team, and then they're all isolated again, and then you'll just see the chaos that happens. All right, so let's get into the replays. In this replay, you'll see that I'm up against a full Paragon team, and even though I don't have any Paragons, this is typically the type of placement that I prefer because everything gets pulled to the center by Aaron usually. You'll see that my Damien is a little bit up in the front, and my Thorin is also connected to my Arden on the left side, ensuring that Arden has maximum survivability. I try to separate Burial to the right as much as possible, but he's gonna get pulled to the center anyway. I'm also trying to keep Florbell safe in the backline. And the purple spell is always my preferred spell for attacking because it completely disables their backline for at least a couple seconds, and these few seconds can really make or break it. It also gives you an attack percent bonus as well as an HP percent bonus on top of that buff. So now into the replay, of course, everything gets pulled to the center, and I want you to keep your eyes on Burial. You'll see those little Burial heads on top of them, which means that they are isolated, and this indicates that he is currently making a clone of them to attack them, and that they are currently debuffed, receiving more damage from your allies. You'll see that now Burial ults, making him untargetable. Now that Arden is dead, you guys will see Burial jump all the way across the map because he's in the middle of his ult animation and go to the next target, and as soon as he gets out, you'll see that big explosion where everyone gets feared. Then they're pretty much done for. As soon as Scarlita slams down, their whole team is already dead. And as you look at the damage charts, you can see that he just went off. I mean, he clearly didn't do as much as Florbell and Arden in this case, but he still provided enough distraction, sustainability, and damage to be able to wipe out their front line before they could get to my Arden and Florbell, and this allowed them to continue steamrolling the rest of the team. In the second replay, I decided to challenge the number 3 player, and as you can see, his team is almost entirely made up of Paragons except for 2. I'm running the same team composition, but this time I want Burial to be connected to Thorin. I believe that in this map and the way that it's laid out, Burial dies very quickly since they aren't isolated much, so I give him that extra bit of survivability, allowing him to tank for my backline. Damien is also there to provide heals and haste to get Florbell's ultimate and Arden's ultimate off as quickly as possible. Now, let's go ahead and get started with the second replay. Of course, everything gets pulled to the center. You see 2 isolated enemies already on the field and 2 clones coming up. Arden ults from the enemy team, and it's not looking so good for me. Everything is pulled to the center again, but now you see Burial becomes invincible, and as soon as he becomes invincible, Florbell goes ahead and summons Smashy, who starts clearing up their backline. Thorn almost clears up my backline, but now you're going to see here that it's just the Burial and Thorn show, and they're able to clean up the rest of the team. And now, if you look at the damage charts, it's just insane how much damage this duo was able to soak up. Yes, of course, Arden soaked up a lot of damage and just kind of almost outperformed Burial. But of course, he's a mage and they have completely different roles. But it's just impressive to see that Burial, mostly because of Florbell, was able to tank so much damage. And as you'll see in further replays, he's just gonna do even more and more. So in this replay, I'm facing the same guy again, but I wanted to show you guys the consistency of the team since this game has a lot of RNG. So I wanted to show off what happens when my backline dies immediately versus this almost full Paragon team, and it's pretty much only Burial alive on the field. So as you can see here on the replay, of course, everything gets pulled to the center again. Now, everything is just starting to get shredded by the enemy Arden. As you can see, he ults really quickly and everything is getting rooted and it's getting shredded right now. Everything on the whole enemy team is pretty much alive, and now it's just 3 of my characters. Thorin's about to go. He just went through his first life and it's just Burial and Damien left. And of course, Burial ults inside and starts slowly damaging up the Aaron. Now the Aaron is feared, and now you'll see Damien start to slowly heal up Burial as he's about to get his ultimate. And now it's just Burial on the field and he's got his ultimate just in time. And as you can see, his ultimate there just saved his life as he was one shot from dying, but his ultimate makes him untargetable. And now that he's inside them doing damage while they can't damage him, which is amazing, and Damien can continue to heal him while he's in this state. And as you will see, as soon as he jumps out, everything becomes isolated again and feared. And now Burial cycles another ultimate, and now he's inside them again doing massive amounts of damage. And this is like the 3rd ultimate he already gets off and just within these 90 seconds. And now he's getting all healed up again, making up some more clones. He ults again, and the enemy Damien Chariot is now dead. Then the Thorn is dead, and it's a nice little buzzer beater once our backline croaked within the first couple seconds against a significantly more powerful team than mine. If you just give Burial a little bit of space, you can see that he'll just run over the game and take care of it completely, even though my backline died so quickly. Alright, so in this replay, I wanted to show you a defense strategy that has been working perfectly for me using Burial. This player has been attacking me, trying to crack open my defense, but let's see how it goes for him. As usual, everything gets pulled to the center, and almost everything is getting one shot. Elsa summons her pillars. As soon as Arden ults, my Burial dies shortly after, and it's looking like he's about to wipe my team. But right now, the only members up are Thorn and Damien. Damien is untargetable, and Thorn is currently reviving as he used up his first life. Now, everything looks absolutely doomed, and Thorn just revived in a 1v5 scenario, popping his passive, and you see him ulting, and as soon as he ults, it's enough to one-shot their Elsa and bring Burial back into the fight. And just watch as the madness unfolds. Here, Reiner teleports Burial out, but the silhouettes are still there on the field doing damage. More silhouettes are being summoned, and now he ults inside them. Damien is fully healing Burial while he's inside them right now. And right now, you'll just see the enemy team just confused, standing still since they can't damage Burial, and Burial is eating them from the inside out. And right now, they're just standing still since they can't do any damage to him since he's untargetable, and he's just slowly killing them and fearing them every single time that his ultimate is done. The enemy Thorn's first life is taken out now. Burial is getting healed up once again. Enemy Thorn is about to ult, but guess what? Burial ults just in time, and he dodges it by going inside them, wiping out Arden, wiping out Thorin, and completely winning the game for me. And as you can see, he just completely destroyed the enemy team in a 1v5 scenario. And like I said before, and I'll keep saying him, if you just give him a little bit of space, he'll just completely annihilate the enemy team. And I've never seen a character in AFK Journey that can do that other than him. In this 5th and final PvP replay, before we get into some of the PvE and AFK stages, I wanted to showcase the Supreme Arena team that got me to the #1 spot. This team features Burial and me attacking players who are, as I said, paragons and significantly stronger than me, not only in the server but now in the district. So in this video, you'll see that I finally have one paragon, which is my only paragon right now on my account, which is Arden, and I'm up against his team of 5 paragons. That's the only advantage I have going for me. So let's see how the battle goes. This player is running Sylvina, and as you'll see, his Sylvina will teleport directly to my Burial. I also positioned my Burial to the left because he also has a Vala there, and Vala will always target the person that has the blue dot or the blue little flower on top of them. which is usually the person that you place the furthest on the team. So I wanted to make sure that I get both of their assassins to target Burial, since Burial can revive if I kill them quickly. And the reason for my placement is because he has a Reiner. I wanted to make sure that nothing from the Reiner gets buffed on his side or anything gets debuffed on my side. So I didn't place anything that can get teleported over. You're gonna see my Burial pretty much just get immediately one shot, but then their Sylvina immediately gets one shot as well. And guess who's back in the party? Now it's a 5v4. Arden gets his ultimate off, and everything, just by the time Scarlita slams down, everything is just dead. And as you guys can see just how strong this team really is. That secured me the first place spot the first time I ever reached #1 as well in the district, especially against people that not only have full Paragon 1 teams, but also have Paragon 2 and Paragon 3 teams. As you can see here in the replay, that's the first team that I used. I got bodied in the second one, but the third one, as you can see, just look at that damage. Look at the damage that Burial tanked and also did in the time that you guys saw him. So basically, sometimes you could just use him as bait, because you can see that's how I used him in this video. I knew that the enemy was running 2 assassins, and I was thinking to myself, okay, go ahead and dive bomb and kill my Burial, but it's just gonna place their assassins in a very awkward spot, so then they can instantly get one shot by my damage dealers, reviving Burial, and continue on the fight with a 1-man advantage, which is now a 4v5. And on the damage charts, you can see that the enemy team that I faced had full Paragons, and his Scarlita was even Paragon 2, which is a massive power spike compared to what I have, which is just mostly Supreme Plus. Well, all I had was a 1 Paragon Arden, and that was pretty much it. And I was still able to compete and secure the #1 spot. And if you guys really have the right placement with this team, you can beat almost any team, as you can see. It doesn't matter if it's somebody that has swiped thousands of dollars more than you, because as you guys can see, Scarlita right now is just taking over the PvP scene, and my Supreme Plus Burial just took out a Paragon 2 level 5 weapon Scarlita, like if it was nothing. So for my non-Paragon Burial to perform against that team the way that it did and secure the #1 spot just really goes to show how powerful this team really is, even against the Celestial and the Arden and Aeron team comp that we see absolutely everywhere. In this first AFK stage replay, I want to show you some high-end AFK stage pushes with this team. We're currently at stage 442, and as you can see, I'm running the same team comp that I was using in PvP, so let's see how it performs in PvE against opponents that are about 70 to 80 levels above me. Now, as we get started, of course, everything gets isolated. My isolations actually get one shot because the enemies are just so powerful and Burial's actually already dead. But then he comes back to life and everything gets rooted and CC'd by Arden, as well as the ads from Florabelle and Smashy coming down and CCing them. Everything is getting healed up in the back and Burial's untargetable and he's just slowly chipping them down. He's definitely providing really good DPS, but when you're fighting something that's 80 levels above you, it's definitely going to be a lot slower. However, with the debuff that he provides, the isolation, the tanking, and also being able to do damage from a safe distance while being completely untargetable is just a crazy combo. As you can see, we're able to finish the stage. Arden got MVP, but in my opinion, the real MVP here was Burial. As you can see, he did close to the amount of damage as our backline, but the amount that he tanked was just absolutely insane, considering that he is a rogue and an assassin isn't supposed to be tanking half of what a tank does. And for this last AFK stage replay that I have, in this last team comp that I want to show off to you guys, I use this one for most stages, honestly, and also in PvP I use it a lot, and I typically like to replace Damien with Reiner, and the reason being is because in the formation that you see that I'm currently facing on stage 561, if you put the Reiner buff on Burial, you'll see that he will simply not move. And I feel like this might be an intended synergy of the two Hypogeans. Burial could get buffed and all his silhouettes and everybody gets buffed by Reiner, but he doesn't get teleported out because he's too busy summoning the silhouettes. So you're going to see him go underground and become untargetable as soon as the replay starts and then just pop back up in the same place. And this is just great because it means that you won't always kill the carry that you send in. Since you'll be sending in Burial, he'll always stay in place and he'll also continue to receive the buffs, and the enemy that you decide to teleport in will get instantly killed and also receive the debuff, and Burial will still stay safe on your side of the arena without getting instantly killed by the enemy. and it also helps further isolate the rest of the targets. And as you can see, there's just a lot of chaos and a lot of things going on the field. Burial is again just untargetable and just tanking like a madman for the rest of the team, and it's just honestly absolutely amazing, because with other teams you wouldn't be able to beat this stage, at least at the level that I'm at. So it's cool to see with the right placement or right strategies you're able to overcome these massive level 80 gaps. And wow, just look at the damage. As you guys can see, Burial just completely popped off, not only in the tanking department as he always does, but his damage was just absolutely insane. So my final thoughts on Burial is that he is just a jack of all trades. Like, not only is he a very cool looking character and aesthetically pleasing, but he just does massive amounts of damage. He tanks, he goes untargetable, he gets healed while he's untargetable. He basically can make the game into a 5 versus 10 if they're all isolated and you do your placements properly. He pairs so well with Reiner, he pairs so well with Arden, with Florabelle, and as you guys can see, he just completely counters the Celestial team comp and the Aaron and Arden team comp that I've been facing ever since the game's release. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe, please. I really appreciate the support that you guys have been showing me in the last few videos. It really motivates me and makes me happy to see that my guides or the information that I'm putting out is actually helping you guys and receiving good feedback. So I'm gonna continue to go harder on these videos and expect a new video real soon when Soren comes out. So thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Talk to you guys soon.